On today's episode, we're going to be talking about a gentleman that had a universal life policy. He's had this universal life policy for like 30 years. Unfortunately, the cash value in the universal life policy has dwindled to almost nothing, and he is in danger of actually losing his universal life policy. So today we're going to be talking about that case and how we resolved it. Stay tuned. All right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Medicare Medics. I'm Medicare Medic Pete Kim.
I'm Medicare Medic Stephen Batts.
I'm Medicare Medic Chris Cook.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about index universal life policies. Specifically, this is a case where a gentleman had a universal life, a flexible premium universal life policy for a very long time. When I met him, he was 74 years old. He had a $180,000 policy that he was paying about $90 a month on. So the problem here is, though, that his cash value after all those years was only at $2,400. So, Stephen, I know that you're still fairly new with the life insurance, and you're still learning about all the life insurance stuff like that.
Yep.
Especially when we're talking about index universal life or universal life policies or things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
What is the problem with him having only $2,400 of cash value after all those years of paying premiums into a life insurance policy?
I mean, a cash value being that low, I'd assume if you're paying for so many years and you're paying these high premiums, it's got to at least be worth something. But that's almost nothing. $2,400 for the amount you've been paying into it.
Okay. So even the newbie, by common sense, determines, well, if I've been paying so much money into something, you would think that it'd be worth a little bit more, right?
Especially if it's building cash value on your policy.
Okay. So I know, Chris, you have some experience with this, right? So, and I'm pretty confident. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident that you should know the answer to this. So you run across somebody like that, and they tell you $2,400. You know, any time that happens, and somebody tells me that, I almost kind of like it shocks me, right?
Yes.
I'm like, oh my god, what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It gets you like, you just want to stab yourself in the heart, right? So what is the problem with this guy only having $2,400 worth of cash value in his account?
Well, the problem is, as he gets older, it costs more to insure him. So when he was younger, it may have cost $20, $30 to insure him. So part of that money kept going into his policy, building that cash value. As he gets older, his cost of insurance goes up, and there's less money going into the cash value. Now he's at a point where the cost to insure him has gone up a great deal, and it's eating into the cash value.
So we'll get a little bit more complicated, and we'll get into this, right? Because you're absolutely right. But for our viewers out there,
Okay.
what is, just flat out, what's the problem? What's going to happen?
That cash value is going to go to zero, and his policy is going to die.
Perfect. That's the problem, because the cash value is not significant enough that the policy is very unhealthy at this point.
It is very unhealthy.
Right.
It's scary.
It's scary unhealthy. So at this point, Chris, in your brain, if this was you just sitting down, gut reaction, is there really any way to really save this policy, you think?
Probably not.
Probably not.
There may be. There may be, but it could cost him quite a bit of money.
Yeah, so we definitely want to look into that, because
Yes.
you don't want a guy that's had this for 30 years that all of a sudden paying into all this stuff lose the insurance when he's getting closer to the time that he needs the insurance. Honestly, these policies, when they were built, especially with life insurance, it's meant to last you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And how tragic it is that it wasn't built properly, or something happened along the way. Maybe you took a loan on the policy. I don't know. But now the cash value has decreased into a point where now he may not be able to have it. Now, look, Chris, at some point somebody wrote him this policy. He didn't write this policy himself.
Right.
These policies are not like final expense policies where you call somebody on the phone and they sell you a final expense policy.
There is an agent.
There is an agent involved in this situation. So what's the problem with the agent not being involved here? Because we know the agent is not involved. How do we know that?
Because he's sinking, he's drowning.
It's going away.
This is a problem that has been going on for
Quite a few years.
many years.
Yeah.
And had he had an agent involved,
Yeah.
then there's no way that this would have become this big of a problem,
Right.
right?
His agent may have retired, or who knows if he's had this policy for 30 years.
That's true. So exactly now we can kind of start getting into the details of why this is a problem. And I think that's where you're going. You're talking about cost of insurance and cash value and things of that nature. Okay. So what Chris was talking about is there in life insurance and universal life policies like this, there is what's called a cost of insurance. So you got a monthly premium that you're paying, but there's a charge inside the policy. And that's what's called the cost of insurance. As you get older, the cost of insurance, Stephen,
Goes up.
goes up. Okay? But if the policy is built correctly, okay, you shouldn't ever see that. If the policy is built correctly, the premium should be set.
Yes.
It should never change.
Right.
Okay? And that's really where your cash value becomes really incredibly important to the health of your policy, because if the policy is built correctly and the cost of insurance is healthy, then the cost of insurance as it goes up, that's where it's being drawn out of the cash value. So the cost of insurance actually gets more expensive, but you're still only paying your $90. In this case, he's only paying his $90, and that's all he'll ever have to pay, because the cost of insurance then gets deducted from his cash value in his account. But if the policy's healthy, the cash value, even though the cost of insurance is going up, and even though it's getting paid, the cash value should still increase.
While keeping your premiums fixed.
While keeping your premiums fixed. In this situation, that's not what's happening. What's happening is the cash value this policy was never written properly. And so as the cost of insurance kept going up, he kept paying his $90, but then that was being eaten away at his cash value.
There wasn't enough premium dollars going in to keep it healthy.
That's exactly right. And so then it just started dwindling down his cash value until now we're at where we're at $2,400. Okay. So Steve, I want to keep picking on you because I just want to maybe see you guess at something.
Because I'm in.
We all got to learn somehow, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think he can do? I know you don't really know anything about this stuff right now. What do you think he can do to fix this thing?
Man,
Or
I jump ship and get on a new one.
You would jump ship.
Yeah, I mean, then what is there to really say? I mean,
okay, so interesting. If he jumps ship, is he going to get another life insurance policy?
Probably not. I mean, it's probably be yes and no. Yes, he can get it, but it's going to be a much higher premium. But no.
How much of a higher premium?
I guess that depends, but
He's 74.
triple.
He's 74 years old.
Yeah.
$180,000.
What do you think a $180,000 permanent life insurance policy for a 74-year-old? Do you think? How much do you think that would be?
If he's in good health.
If he's in good health.
He's in good health. You guys can laugh at me. I'm gonna say like 300.
I would say
it's gonna.
upwards of that.
You might be exceeding over $1,000 a month.
It's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
because his life expectancy is another, what, 8
Yeah.
years?
Mm,
Yeah,
And-
yeah,
84.
84?
I think it's 84. So 10 years.
84, 10 years.
yeah.
In 10 years, the insurance company is going to have to probably, they're assuming they're going to have to pay out $180,000
Yeah.
in 10 years.
Right.
They're going to want some of that premium,
Yeah.
most of that premium paid.
Yeah, it'd be scary to see how much that would actually cost them. But I'm glad you brought up that point about health, because that is one thing I didn't tell you guys.
Mm.
This guy's unhealthy, so he will not qualify for another universal life policy. Okay. So, anyways, Chris, what do you think? Is there any way to save this thing for him?
There could be.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Okay. So,
Tell us your thoughts.
my thoughts.
Yeah.
If he has cash, if he has a lump sum of money that he could put into the policy,
Mm-hmm.
he could do that and possibly increase the premium that he's paying right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
It could be possible to save it.
Okay.
It would take a phone call to the company
Okay.
to find out.
All right. What do you think? Good idea or bad idea?
I mean, in his situation, I assume that's the better route.
Okay. So for me, I know it can't happen.
He doesn't have the money.
No, he definitely has the money. He's got plenty in savings. He could do that.
Okay.
But there's one thing stopping him from doing that.
And what's that?
Our favorite people, the government.
Oh, the 7 pay.
No, it has
No.
nothing to do. So this is different than the 7 pay, because the 7 pay has to really do with what's called a modified endowment contract,
Okay.
which means whether the proceeds are taxable or not taxable. The cash value inside the proceeds are taxable or not taxable. Even if it's a loan, a MEC, it's still. So loans are generally usually taxable, but if it's a MEC or modified endowment contract, it becomes taxable. So that's a little bit different. What we're talking about is a max cap. Okay, so the IRS sets a max cap at how much somebody can put into a life insurance contract.
Yes.
Okay, so this person, and we did call because you had a great idea, because that's the first thing we want to do is, hey, how much can this guy, or how much will this guy need to put back into his life insurance policy? And we try to extend it out to age, let's say 95 or 100. Nowadays, it's, most policies are built to 120 years old, right? Because the life expectancy has gotten higher. So in this situation, we know it's going to be expensive. So we just even want to do it, even if we can get it to age 90 or 95,
Right.
which if he lives 91 or 96, it could be a bad thing, because now it still may not be around.
Right.
But there's a limit. And no matter so that limit was way too high, right? I can't remember exact figure of how much the limit was, but it was going to be a lot more money that he'd have to put in every single month. But it was above the government limit that they would allow.
Okay.
So there's no way of saving this policy, unfortunately.
Mm.
How happy do you think this guy was?
I bet he was hot.
Oh, yeah. Very, very hot. Right? And his agent, he hadn't talked to his agent in a long, long time. I think he said that after the agent had sold the policy to him within 5 years, then the guy never called him back, or he never came out to do a review. He did get statements from the company, but there was never another agent that came out and saw him. He never called anybody. And this is typical. This is a common issue that we see all the time, where somebody puts life insurance or plans in place, and then they kind of set and forget it and think that everything's going to be okay.
Right.
Okay. So this is where we always urge everybody to make sure you're getting your reviews at least every couple of years, especially if you have money, or you got money accounts or index universal life policies, or just any general insurance policy. You just definitely need to get a review every few years.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
very important.
Just to prevent issues like this from happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this situation, then, what's the best deal? Stephen, what can he do? We know that the policy is It's too far gone to save it. Okay. He's got $2,400 worth of cash value in this account. Okay. $2,400 of cash value means what? Stephen, what does $2,400 worth of cash value mean to this guy?
Probably nothing. I mean, you can withdraw it or cash it out.
He can cash it out.
Yeah.
So it's $2,400.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
That's a lot for me.
That's a
Nice stick in the eye.
yeah, that's a decent chunk of money.
Yeah.
I think our pool we go to this pay to play pool, right? It's where all my kids' friends want to go because all their kids go and whatever else. But the pool membership was $1,200 this year.
Oh, wow.
And guess what we said?
For 4 months.
No,
For
thanks.
4 months. Yeah, no, thank
Wow.
you. Right? I mean, we could pay it, but
Yeah.
do we really want to pay that for a pool membership? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe some of you guys out there are paying more for a pool membership, and you think I'm being cheap. I don't know, but I don't want to pay $1,200 for a pool membership.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. You can take $2,400. It's $2,400. But Stephen, if he cashes it out, what happens to the policy?
It dies out.
It dies out. What if he dies next month?
No. It's gone. Everything's gone.
And that,
His beneficiaries wouldn't have that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, his beneficiaries wouldn't have that, right?
Yeah.
So what is the bigger gamble? Keeping the policy knowing that it's only going to last maybe another year and a half, maybe 2 years, and then it's
Right.
gone, and then you don't have anything. Or take it now, but then if you die next month,
It's
I say let it. It would be my recommendation to go ahead, pay the premiums. You said he's unhealthy. Go ahead and pay the premiums until the policy is gone.
Okay.
I'd say having something is better than nothing. So if you can get a guaranteed issue, maybe life insurance.
Yeah, but even if you get a guaranteed life insurance policy, that ain't gonna. He
No.
might be able to afford 10,000,
Yeah.
15,000 before it's unreasonable, right? You're
Right.
paying more into the policy than you're ever going to get out of it.
Right.
Not to mention if he's unhealthy,
Oh, right.
you got a graded policy, which means you got to wait 2 years before it kicks in.
If he dies,
Right.
basic. Okay, yeah. So
So
what do you do in this situation?
I mean, he can always get the guaranteed issue once this policy has spent itself out.
yeah, it's a tough question. I don't think it's. I think everybody's situation is a little bit different, and what's important to one person is going to not be different important to somebody else.
What did he want to do?
I think he was just going to let it ride. Now, I'm kind of a cheapskate, so I'm thinking if it's dead, why keep paying more into it, right? Because I'm not going to gamble that I'm going to die in 2 years, right? That's just me. I'm hoping to live, not gambling to die.
We're all hoping to live.
Right. So in that mind frame, I'm going, well, I'm going to live 2 years, so I'm going to waste my $2,400.
Okay.
But it is life. We don't know when
No.
God's going to punch our ticket, obviously.
Right.
So in that situation, then maybe so I think this is like an individual decision.
Yeah, it really has to be, I think.
Obviously, he's got to talk to his wife, and I don't think it's his decision. I think it's going to be his wife's decision.
Oh, yeah, he's the beneficiary.
She's a beneficiary. So very unfortunate circumstance.
Horrible.
And this is also a common issue we run into. Now, a lot of times we're able to catch this pretty early before it
Yes.
starts, becoming an issue.
Right.
Where this thing becomes a little bit, hidden, like a hidden problem is the cash value. If the policy is really a problem, then really where the hidden problem, where you can't really spot it very easily, is if the cash value is going up still, but it's not going up as much as it
Right.
probably should. Or maybe the cash value is kind of starting to stay stagnant.
Hmm.
Because obviously if the cash value is going backwards, that's an easy thing to identify. But if it's going up still or it's kind of staying stagnant, then it's a little harder to identify. So an easy way to figure that out is actually call the company and go, hey, what was my cash value last year? What was it 3 years ago? What was it 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see kind of the trend of whether that cash value is going up. And if the percentage of that every year is staying the same, then I think you're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
If the percentage is getting less and less every single year, then that might pose a problem.
Yes.
Right, and you're just going to have to call the company, have them rerun an illustration,
Mm-hmm.
how much you got to put into the life, how much extra you got to put into the life insurance, and sometimes it may only be a few dollars.
Right.
That corrects the whole
Could
thing.
be $20.
Sometimes it's been less than that, $5
Yeah. Yeah.
over the course of a long run, and interest rates inside the policy and everything else will play a factor in all that stuff. But yeah, I hate these kind of situations. Because, the unfortunate thing is a lot of clients blame this on the insurance company because they think, oh, the insurance company is just trying to screw me and they're not going to pay out. So they're just trying to get rid of the policy. When really all these issues usually come back to the original servicing agent, or in this case, I'm going to blame the company because maybe they didn't send another agent out there to do a review. But a lot of times, most agents won't come back and do the review. Why? Because there's no money in it.
No, they're not going to get
They
paid.
don't want to service it.
Yeah, they don't get paid for the servicing because they didn't write the policy.
Mhm.
So that's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is the reason why we are making these type of videos so people can really understand, your own current situation and just kind of a non-biased third-party educational forum where you can learn why these things are a problem and how do you fix it. Sometimes in this situation you can't,
Right.
but if you can diagnose that sooner than later, earlier,
Mhm.
preventative medicine.
Yeah.
We are the Medicare medics.
Yeah.
Preventative medicine, then that can go a long ways where it doesn't have to cost you anything or hurt that quite as much. So, all right. Any final thoughts, Chris?
I don't think so.
Okay, Steve.
Definitely learned a lot today.
There is so much to learn, right? I've been doing this for a long time, and the learning just never ends.
For any of us.
For any of us.
We all learn.
It's a lifelong
new things.
journey. So this is why we always urge everybody to make sure they're reaching out to a professional because, man, if it's confusing to us, I can only imagine if you're not doing this for a living every single day and looking at this every day, how confusing it can be. Right?
Definitely.
So reach out to your professional and make sure you're getting reviews, especially if you got a universal life policy or index universal life policy, or really just any kind of insurance like we mentioned before. So, anyways, if you like these videos, what are you gonna do?
You're
Steven, what are you gonna do?
You're gonna like, you're gonna comment down below, and
And
subscribe.
That's right. Subscribe to these videos. It really helps us out.
like and subscribe.
Yeah,
I
keep
don't know why I
getting these
took
videos
that
up.
out.
We love you anyways, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I love you too.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Medicare Medics. Once again, we're going to try to bring one of these videos, maybe a couple every single week, and we'll continue, hopefully bringing value to you guys. All right, till next time, take care.
Hey guys, thank you for watching our videos. Here are a few important disclaimers that you should know about. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and are strictly intended for informational and educational purposes only. The information contained in these videos should not be understood or construed as recommendations or investment advice. It's important to know that everyone's situation is unique and different. What works for one person may not be the best planning for someone else. Therefore, we strongly encourage you to find a licensed professional for any advice or recommendations that you may need. You can find links to some approved licensed professionals on our website.